Yeah, last week's game was certainly frustrating, and I know we've had a number of, I think four games that have been last play of the game scenario that we've lost on. That those are extremely painful, but this one wasn't any easier to swallow, and I say that because we didn't play very well as a football team, and it seems like we've just really struggled. There's been some games I thought we played really well defensively, but couldn't put the points up we needed to offensively, and the same thing vice versa. When we score 38 points, but we give up 52. I mean, we've really kind of struggled to put a complete team effort together. Offensively, I think some of that was the number of people that were in and out this week. I know that just, with all of a sudden you got Keon Henry Brooks was out. Jared Means went out after 10 plays, was throwing up uncontrollably on the sideline with the little bug, with obviously something he ate at some point in time. Trey Harris went out with his ankle. Obviously, with both Austin Kendall and J.D. Head out. I mean, we just had a lot of guys out, and we certainly did not click very well offensively. It was obviously highlighted with a 5-turnover day, or low-lighted with a 5-turnover day, and you're not going to win many games when you turn the ball over like that. I thought we came out and we ran the ball pretty efficiently in the first half. I think we'd rushed for 130 in the first half on our way to a 260-yard day. But outside of that, we had 4 false starts. We were 0 for 2 in the red zone. We were 3 out of 12 on third down. I mean, we certainly weren't very efficient as an offensive football team. And I say that, 11 of 26 passing. I say that, but yet defensively we gave up 35 points. I take it back 28. 7 of them were a screen pass that we gave them at the end of the game. We gave up 28 points, but yet we did so many good things on defense. I mean, we created 3 turnovers on defense, had 5 positive field positions for the offense that we couldn't capitalize on. We scored on defense. We were 70% on third down. I mean, you go through and look at it. It was just frustrating. I think we had 10 tackles for a loss on defense. But we also gave up 2 deep balls for touchdowns. And when you get in a game like that where the offense is struggling, you can't give up a deep post and you can't give up an uncontested third and goal, for 20 yards. So it was a frustrating loss. And obviously, I think everybody in the building is embarrassed for the way that we played and some of the things that we did. And we know we've got to play better coming down the stretch, especially in this final game. We're going to play a team in Rice this week. I think Mike Bloomgren does a really good job with his team. They play extremely hard. Their season, if you look at it, is probably real similar to ours. They had losses early to teams like Arkansas, Texas, Houston, but they've lost 2 overtime games in the league. They've had last play losses. They're playing really hard. I know that they had a quarterback injured last week. The transfer from Boise and the transfer from Nebraska has stepped in, who's doing more with his legs than the Constantine did. But I think that they're solid offensively. They give you a lot of different looks. They are very multiple, from 4 wides to 3 tight ends. They give you a lot of different looks that you have to prepare for. And the same thing defensively. I think the strength of their football team is their 2 interior players are very explosive. When you have a defensive lineman with 60 tackles, he's making a difference. I mean, it's a lot of tackles for a D lineman, but they've got 2 of them inside that I think are the backbone of their defense. And then same thing, they'll play some 3 down, some 4 down. They'll play every coverage known to man. I mean, there's an awful lot of things that they throw at you defensively. So ought to be a great challenge for us. I know that our team is excited to play this last football game. We've got one more opportunity to kind of get it right. It's been a season of many frustrations from a win-loss standpoint. But for me, I've really been proud of the team and the way that they've stayed together and the way that they've competed and the way that they go out and they work every single day. We just got off the practice field this morning and I think had a really good Tuesday practice in preparation for this week. So we're going to try and put our best foot forward and do everything we can to win this last game of the season and send our seniors out the right way and start to build for 2022.
Ben, you want to start us off again?
Coach, what do things look like at the quarterback position this week? Where's Austin stand?
Austin practiced today, which is the first time he's practiced in, I believe it's been, well, since the ODU game. Today's been the first day that he practiced. He went out there. He's pushing it. He's throwing every ball. He's trying to throw with a sense of urgency and kind of torque his body, you know what I mean, and trying to make urgent decisions, throwing a couple deep balls. I mean, we're trying to see where he is. But from what I saw today, I think he's really close to playing. We're just going to have to see after pushing it a little bit farther today than we have to this point. Is he going to stiffen up, swell up and not be able to go? I don't know. But from what I saw today, he's pretty close to ready to play. I'm just hopeful that his back holds up. And I say that I know it's been frustrating for him. He got out of the game, came back out of the working world to play again. I think he's played in 6 or 7 football games this season, and I'd love to see him have the opportunity to finish this thing out the right way and have a chance to play.
You look and you talk about the run game and some of the success that it had, against Southern Miss, especially in that first half. I guess going back to, really the last 3 weeks against UAB, Charlotte, and then Friday night against Southern Miss. What have you guys really changed up offensively that's allowed you to be more successful and kind of create that ground game like you want it to go?
Well, I think the we'll call it the Coach Googe influence on this group right now. I've really been impressed with their professionalism. When you look at it, the way they communicate, the way they talk, they come off the field, it's like, hey, when that 3 technique goes out, we got to make sure we swallow that up together. I'll make a zebra call, or whatever it is. They're communicating, they're talking, and I think where Coach Googe has done a great job, and they'll ask him a question. He'll say, well, you guys sit there and figure it out. You're on the field. You're the ones that are going to have to make the calls. Y'all figure it out. If you can't figure it out, come see me. And I think he's really got them communicating well. Like you go into we give them a snack late at night on Friday night, and you go into the snack room at 10 o'clock at night, and there's 10 linemen in there doing the quiz and talking about it, talking about, well, on this one, if he goes there. It's just really neat to see their growth from a mental standpoint, from a football standpoint. I think they're really understanding what we're trying to do in our run game at this point on each and every play and some of the key factors that are going to make it work. I've said that in the past, I think we've played too much like 5 independent contractors on the offensive line, and those guys got to be tied on a rope. They all got to work together. If one guy steps a half a foot to the right, the guy on this left's got to step with them, or there's a hole and there's penetration and you're in a lost yardage play. And so I think they are really starting to take some pride in the fact that how they communicate, how they operate, the calls that they make, and making sure they're all on the same page. And I think it's really been neat to watch that group of guys develop. I think it's really been neat to watch them come together through the course of this season. It's unfortunate we haven't been able to get some things done around them, because I think the offensive line is probably one of the most improved positions right now on our football team. I think they've really done a good job, and they're really starting to come around and understand it. I think the develop of Keon Henry Brooks and the way Marcus Williams has been running, I think are all positive things, and they have a lot of confidence in those guys. So really proud of the offensive line and what they've done. Just unfortunate that we're not sitting here playing for a conference championship at this point with how much that they've come along and how much they've grown in the last really 6 months.
And switching over to the other side of the ball, you mentioned the big plays that you gave up. I think BJ had a chance for an interception on one fade ball. You give up the post down the center of the field, and obviously the late touchdown. On the back end in the secondary, are those breakdowns? Are they scheme? What can you point to some of those issues?
No, the first touchdown, the fade, I think was actually a brilliant call down on the goal line. You never play too deep on the goal line. You only play too deep when you're expecting a pass. And this is a football team that threw it, 8 times on the day or something, whatever it was. They didn't throw it a lot. And with them running the Wildcat, he called it too deep coverage, which was perfect, and that they may throw the ball here, and the corner was underneath, supposed to jam the receiver. The safety's over the top. You kind of have 2-on-1. But really, the bottom line was the receiver went up and made a great one-on-one play. I think, I mean, it was man on man, and he went up and took the ball. Our job's to knock it down. His job's to catch it. There's a winner loser every play. It was unfortunate, but you got to line up and you got to go play again. The post route that went over the top, we just poor technique, and we got beat in a one-on-one situation. We were putting our secondary in a little bit more one-on-one situations to get an extra hat in the box, which is why I think Jaden Cole had one of his better games. Did a great job coming downhill, getting in the box, being very active in the run, but bringing him downhill put kind of the corners and the safeties on an island. And the corner without inside help, just bail technique, kind of opened and ran to his deep third, and he's got him one-on-one, and he ended up getting beat on technique, and the running back, the quarterback made a great throw, down the field, put air under it and let the receiver run under it. The last one to me was, that one is on us. I mean, I think we got the call in late. The players were looking over to the sideline. They had trips into the boundary. The players were looking at the sideline, and I know that David doesn't want them stealing signals, and so he's going to signal after they call theirs, trying to make the perfect call to the formation. But the third and long situation, put him in three deep, put him in quarters, and let's play the chains and let's keep the ball in front of us. But he went into a man coverage and got it late, and Trey never had the opportunity to react to be able to run with the tight end on the wheel route. They put trips into the boundary and ran a double post with a wheel, and the linebackers got to run with the wheel, but I don't think he ever had a chance. So I think we've got to accept responsibility that falls on us, and I think that one definitely fell on us as a staff. One fell on a player with poor technique, and one fell on just a one-on-one jump ball, a man-on-man. So we've got to do better, because in a game like that, you knock those three balls down, that's 21 points. That's a pretty big difference in a football game when you're looking at a 35-19 game. And then if we don't throw, the last interception, then they score 7 points, or if they get to kick field goals in there, those are 9 points. So, all of a sudden you win a football game, and it's 19 to 13, I just did a lot of math in my head. I don't know if it was right, but we had the opportunity to knock those three balls down and defend them. We had the opportunity being in the red zone. The turnovers were killers because they put our defense in bad field position. But I actually thought, outside of the big plays and the red zone production, I thought guys like Tyler Grubbs was all over the field. I mean, he had like 13 tackles. He was awesome. He was responsible or involved in all three turnovers in some way, shape, or form, whether that's hitting the quarterback to force the pass, whether that's causing the fumble. But I thought Trey Baldwin scored. Defense creates 3 turnovers, 5 positive field positions. Up front, they continue to play well. Keevy Rose, Deshaun Hall, Michael Clark. It was great to see Willie Baker's production, DJ Jackson. And you start talking about all these guys. Michael Clark's a freshman. Deshaun Hall's a sophomore. Keevy Rose is a freshman. Ben Bell's a freshman. Kershawn Fisher's a freshman. Joe Mason's a freshman. Tyler Grubbs is a freshman. Xavier Woods is a freshman. There's going to be some mistakes made when you're playing with younger players, but the positive note is the upside with all these guys gaining all this valuable experience, and you're only going to get better as you go into each and every year. So as frustrating as it has been for us as a football team, I'm also extremely encouraged for the underclassmen and the young guys and who's the nucleus that's coming back and the experience that they've gained this year.
And just to talk about that a little bit, you look ahead, and obviously this year hadn't gone in the manner that you guys wanted it to go. What kind of motivation, not only does that provide for you, but provide for some of those young guys as they head into an off season where they've faced a tremendous amount of adversity?
Well, I think it's one thing to get beat and just get, blown out of the stadium every week. It's a whole nother thing when you're losing, like that game, as bad as it looks on the scoreboard at 35-19, as we just talked about. You don't throw the touchdown at the end offensively on the screen pass, and you knock 2 of those 3 balls down, you win the game. It's that close, but we made mistakes that were scoring plays that hurt us. But I think when you're that close, that's where you get I mean, you don't get down, you don't get just disappointed and slump your shoulders and sulk. Knowing that you're that close, that's when you roll your sleeves up and say, what do we got to do to take that step? Because that step is that big, and let's go from worst to first. Let's make this jump. And I think, as disappointed as I am for the seniors that we weren't able to continue that bowl streak and keep this going in 2021, I'm also that encouraged for the future with these young players and the attitude they have. And I just look at the way they went up there and the way they practiced today. This last game is as much a kickoff for 2022 as it is to send the seniors out the right way on 2021. And I think this has an opportunity to go a long way. This is our bowl game. This is our opportunity to finish the season up the right way, go into the off season. Hopefully, like everybody else, we'll watch the bowl games upset with the mindset of what could have been this year with how close we were and couldn't get it done. But there are no pity parties. We're not going to feel sorry for ourselves. We're not going to put our head in the sand. We're going to roll our sleeves up and we're going to compete and we're going to find a way to get it straight.
Any more questions,
Good.
Coach? Brian?
Yeah, Coach, kind of tied into what you just talked about. Without having the bowl game this year, what do you do differently, trying to go out on a positive note with this last game? What do you do differently as far as December and January when you don't have those bowl practices?
Well, the bowl practices, certainly the rich get richer when you start talking about bowl practices, because really the way I've handled bowl practices is I've let my seniors off the first week and I've only practiced the underclassmen, and it's a spring ball mindset. Then we come back for the next 2 weeks and we go at it really hard while we're here, and then we can go enjoy the bowl site with where we are because we've put the hard work in. I hate that we're going to lose that spring practice because all these young guys we just talked about could use an extra spring practice. But what we're going to have an opportunity to do, the NCAA rule says that when your season's over, you got to give your team a week off. So coming out of Rice, we come back on December 1st and we start our winter quarter. We'll have a new class schedule, a new start. We'll have a team meeting. We'll talk about the calendar for December, January, the off season, what we're trying to get done. We will get into a heavy off-season lifting program in December for 2 weeks before we send them home for Christmas. They'll get a couple weeks off for Christmas, and then we're back on December 5th, and we will have the opportunity to get right back into our weightlifting. I think it's all about trying to take some of these underclassmen and give them the opportunity to really grow their body, come out of the season, get healthy again, and get in the weight room and make sure that we can, whether that's leaner, bigger, stronger, faster, whatever each player is trying to do, there'll be an individual plan for each player and what he's trying to do in his off season to try and strengthen his body and make himself a better football player. So I think December for us, even though it won't be about bowl games and bowl gifts and a reward to the season and the opportunity to play one last time, we are kicking off 2022 when we come back on December 1st and we're getting ready for the 2022 season, and that's how we're going to start it.
Steve, you got anything?
I think I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Coach.